everyone. My name is Tash Studley and I work here at Darrenberg, and next to me is a man who needs very little introduction, Chester Osborn, current chief winemaker and fourth generation family member here. And tonight, Chester's going to be talking to you guys about the 2014 vintage of our icon wines. So if you've got a bottle that you're tasting along at home, you can share your experience on social media using the hashtag #MyTasting, and we'll see all your posts and we'll be able to join in and respond to you. Also, if you have any questions during the tasting about the wine or Darrenberg in general, type them just under the video here that we're doing, and we're going to come back in a minute at the end of the tasting and we're going to ask all your curly questions. So go ahead, as many hard questions as you want for Chester, chuck them at him. However, I will jump in first and just say, yes, Chester is a natural blonde. No, I'm not, because I'm pretty sure that question was going to be up there coming first. So grab a glass if you haven't already, although from what we've seen on social media, fairly certain a few of you have chapped in already. Grab a glass, sit back, relax, enjoy. I'm going to hand you over to Chester and I'll be back later with all of your Kelly questions in hand. Thanks, Chester.
Hey, Tash, and you're most welcome to throw blonde jokes in those questions if you want, or blonde questions or whatever. I'm blonde as well. She's not getting worried. Look, as you noticed, I've already started, and these bottles are already down a fair way because they asked me to come over here ages ago. So just make sure you start hopping into the Ironstone for a start. We're going to do the Ironstone, then we're going to do the Coppermine, and then the Dead Arm. So dive in. For those of you who don't know, Darrenberg's been around for 105 years. My great-grandfather bought the vineyard in 1912. He was the director of Thomas Hardy and Sons, as in Hardy's, from about 1881. So we've been in the wine industry in McLaren Vale for about 136 years. And funnily enough, we're still making wine the same way as what my grandfather made the winery. Little submerged caps, foot treading, basket press, everything, including all the whites. And then we're also... I'm getting a bit of feedback there, like listening to things there already, throwing me out off the track. The vineyards we've also turned back into old-fashioned ways with the horses in the vineyard and the sheep in the vineyard. So, and no cultivation, no spraying under vine. It's all very minimal input. Anyway, I'll talk more about that maybe when we get into these wines. In fact, we might as well start getting into it. So let's hop into the Ironstone. I should say, first of all, 2014 vintage, what it was like. Lovely wet winter, which we always love because it gets right down deep in the geology, so you get more of the expression of what's down deep, and especially Grenache, which is dry grown for all of it, then it really helps those vines to blossom and grow properly. They're often in very poor soils and geology, so you want them to grow. It was pretty dry in autumn, so the first part of spring was wet, and then it was actually relatively mild and dry through most of spring, I should say, and then into summer. And then we got about 60 mil of rain in February, and which actually it was starting to get really dry, and that 60 mil was maybe about the right amount. I don't know. The wine's turned out well, so I suppose it probably was the right amount. And then it really dried off in April, and so again they dried out and it made the concentration. So the Ironstone is its normal blend of 75% Grenache, 25% Shiraz, and 5% Mourvedre. We've got the oldest vineyard of Grenache in there, which is 105 years old, from the oldest vineyard in McLaren Vale. The oldest vineyard of Mourvedre in there, which is nearly 99 years old. And the Shiraz is a mixture of different Shiraz blocks, but all very, very old, back to 1898. So a lot of old vine material in there. As I mentioned, dry grown, but some of the vineyards are actually derelict vineyards, so no spraying, no pruning, no anything, just picking. I actually say it's like the only thing that happens in those vineyards is sex, because when you eat the grapes, it's like having sex. It's as good as sex. That's debatable, I suppose. But they're really long, perfumed, gritty, fragrant characters. And we pick them so they're not too fat and ripe. And when you look at this wine, you can see it's not too fat and too heavy. It's got a really bright and energetic, lively character, really spicy and very, very low yielding, so beautifully earthy. You can see the sandstone geologies of slightly more inland, which are sand on sandstone. They give this really irony, sooty-like character into the wine, which is lovely. From round where the winery is at Darrenburg, we get a silage-like note in the wine, and then Blewett Springs, which again is inland but slightly more to my right, back that way, back toward Adelaide slightly and Mount Lofty. Those geologies are deep sand, and they give a really perfumed character, but there's some ironstone knobs there that give a really bit of character. Speaking of ironstone, I just brought a little bit along. There we are. Oh shit, it's bloody heavy. I fall off this stool if I'm not careful. Anyway, that's just to show you what ironstone looks like. And it rusts. So it's iron ferrous. That is why it's got rust and some it's not. Anyway, the Shiraz I use is actually Shiraz destined for Dead Arm, but looks spicy and Grenache-like, because the whole wine I'm trying to make look Grenache-like. The Grenache only stays, and the Mourvedre only stays in oak for about 11 months, so not too much oak character, and no new oak, but only French oak. And about 15% of the Grenache is been in stainless steel, small stainless steel, to really keep the life in the wine. All right, let's move along. Hold on, I'm going to drink some. I finished it. Well, I had to because I had it in a glass. Because now we're going to do the Coppermine Road Cabernet. So Coppermine Road is called the Coppermine Road because of the road up the way over here where there's a copper mine at the end of it. And I've got a little prop here, a little ice bucket of copper, and there's a little goblet, little copper maker, and I don't know what that is, maybe a vase, and maybe another vase, I don't know. This is all some of the crap that I've been buying. My Saturday mornings are going to the auctions and going through and putting bids on everything in Adelaide, getting lots of crap from Cube, which I'm sure you've heard about, and we'll talk about a little bit more shortly. But this was just left over in one of the boxes. I didn't actually want to buy it, but I wanted something in the box, some figure. But yeah, look, let's get back to the Coppermine. The Coppermine Road is from a nearly extinct clone of Cabernet that never yields more than 1 tonne an acre. Very, very poor setting, so lots of little tiny berries, or maybe not lots of each cluster actually, maybe 10, and then a few little bit bigger berries, and maybe the odd normal sized berry. So a lot of these berries are like ball bearings, so really, really small. It has a great concentration of character. It's always got this dark, strong, cassis-like Cabernet character, but then with a lovely leaf-like note, so you can see this blackberry leaves and perfume amongst it, with sage and all these other characters. It shows a lot of earth because these are old vines, mostly around the 50 years old. They've got 7 vineyards of these, down deep, the roots, down in the geology. So the soil on the top will be giving a certain amount of character, but the older the vines, then the more the geology has an influence, and the more you see this dark, sooty and earth-like character coming into the wine. And the limestones will give lots of structure, and the sandstones will give a wider ray. So the structure from the limestone is sort of one like a tannin, which is quite blocky and quite aggressive, which you can see a fair bit there because limestone goes really well with Cabernet. And then the sandstones give like little fine mineral gritty tannins over here, and then really big, broad, chunky tannins, and everything in between with the heap of earth and whatever. So it's complex. We'll just drink it instead. Moving right along, the Dead Arm. Now, this wine is called the Dead Arm because you have a bottle of this wine, you'll pass out, and you'll wake up lying on your arm, and it will be dead, and you won't be able to move it, which mine's most of the time like that. Actually, no, I'm lying. You need 3 bottles probably before you pass out, and your arm's gone dead. But no, that's not true at all either. It's actually the fungus that gets into the pruning cuts of the vine and kills off the arm of the vine. Only half of the vine is alive, so all the energy of all those roots is going to that little bit of the vine, which is making it more concentrated and less stressed and more character. So I didn't have a prop of an arm, but I did have a prosthetic leg, which we can put on my arm, so it sort of becomes a dead arm. This is actually one of the props from the toilet door to the disabled toilet, because we didn't want to put the sign there. and we've got dolls for the ladies' toilet and action figures for the men's toilet. This is in the cube, so just to spice it all up really and make it interesting. It's all art and carry on going on inside there. I'm getting sidetracked again. Let's get back to the Dead Arm. Oh no, hold on. There is. Sorry, I forgot. There is actually a Dead Arm here. It's a mannequin arm, and I do have a heap of mannequins going into the cube as well, wearing beautiful lingerie, and so there's a biker chick in there as well. Again, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get back to the Dead Arm. This is our best vineyards of Shiraz, and it's the best barrels of the best vineyards. You may know our amazing sites. We do like about 12 single vineyard Shiraz wines where we grab about 6 barrels for those, and the rest go into this wine. So it's made up of quite a few, 12 vineyards, and maybe a few growers as well that have really sensational old vine stuff that I don't do single vineyard wines of because I'm not that silly. About 15% of this wine is from vines that are around the 30 years old, and they tend not to be as strongly geologically expressive, but more the soil. And they're bright and spicy. They have to have good concentration, really lovely life and minerality. So that's that. About 60% from 50-year-old vines, roughly. They have more earth, more gritty tannins and long tannin characters. Lifted and take longer to develop and show their stuff. And then 30% from 100-year-old vines, which are again sooty and iron, really strongly geologically expressive, sometimes really strongly earthy. Most of those wines look really completely out of balance when you look at them as young wines. And in the past I didn't put them into the blend of Dead Arm in a really tannic year, but I noticed now that those wines actually do age beautifully, now that it's been 6 years we've been bottling them separate, and they look really special, so more and more of it's going in there, and it makes the wine really good. In fact, I just heard that Wine State gave this wine a really good rap, and it's going to go into a tasting for Wine of the Year, and the Ironstone got a good rap as well, apparently. So that's pretty much these 3 wines. The 14 vintage is a little bit juicier, a little bit friendly, although they still look very young. They'll still age for a long, long time. We never know whether it's going to be 20 or 40 years because that's only history will tell that. But I always say start drinking these wines when they're 8 years old, and then keep drinking them every year, have a bottle, whatever, and you'll know how long they'll last. But they can. We're drinking the 1960s stuff, and that's looking fantastic. So, and this looks really lovely. This vintage as well. We did actually leave these wines in the barrel, on the lees in the barrel, so we didn't rack them. But we take all the clear wine off and wash out all the solids and put the wine back in. We didn't do that with these wines because it does. The lees are bits of yeast, and they scavenge the oxygen which has been sucked into the barrel and oxidising the wine, but the yeast actually gobble that oxygen up and stop the wine from oxidation. So a balancing reduction and oxidation keeps the wine fresher and livelier, and it integrates the oak better. And there's a little bit of pulp in there as well, and the pulp is giving more minerality, which is making the wine longer and more fragrant and characterful. So, Tash, is there any questions? Should we get into that, do you think? I need to have a drink anyway, so...
Yes. Actually, there are some questions, Chester, and thanks so much for that advance notice and that heads up while I rush around the corner. And I'm not really sure what the hell's going on here, but I was going to put that over there. I
love the this Shiraz, just how it's got huge amounts of fennel and licorice notes, and it's earth, but it's beautifully bright, sagey, rose petally, rose hip-like notes in amongst the licorice and the chocolate notes, but not fat, not broad like some Shirazes, and really poignant. Only about 10% new oak, so you don't really see oak there. The oak is very, very low toast, so you don't get the caramel characters. Now that Tash is here, sorry, we'll do some questions.
I actually just realised I don't even have a glass. Can someone find me a glass of wine, please?
Here you are. There we are.
Oh, here's one we prepared earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure about you
guys.
But that to me felt a little bit like speed dating. It was like bang, 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 check out all these wines. There's a lot of information. As Chester mentioned, we're over 100 years old. We've got over 100 years of history, and there are so many stories behind what we do. So we have had a couple of questions, and another one just come in. But first, A couple of people, Steve and Samantha, have mentioned about the derelict vineyards and the derelict vines and the old dry-grown bush vines, and I wanted to know a little bit more about those and if we still prune them.
Oh, so these vineyards got the vine pull scheme back in 1985, where the government paid people a couple of $1,000s a hectare to pull out the vines because there was a surplus of grapes. Would have been much wiser to actually put that money into export, because a few years later export started to boom and unfortunately lots of vineyards were pulled out. But fortunately in McLaren Vale, these were Grenache vineyards that were just bush vines, so no trellis, and the growers got paid the money and they didn't pull out the vines. They just thought the vines would die because the weeds will take over and it won't matter. What's the point in killing them and getting stuff in to kill them? But Grenache is really hardy. It doesn't die very easily, and the harder it works, the better it is. Oh look, we have a derelict Grenache here, which is the next level down of our Ironstone in Grenache territory. And so there are vineyards still not being pruned, but we got about 20 or 30 vineyards of unpruned, uncultivated, everything. As I say, just picking is the only thing. But lots of them we have pruned back, but none of them been fertilised, probably since the 70s, which is 50 years. When you don't fertilise a vine, it really just expresses the soil so strongly, and you don't get that just fertilised like, could be anything, like hydroponic like carrot.
So Katie has mentioned that she has boots that match your jacket perfectly, and she's offered to loan them to you, but I'm pretty sure you might be different sizes. She does want to know, where did you get your jacket from?
Well, if they're high heels, I have worn high heels occasionally.
You're feeling way too big.
No, but it was a rather large lady, obviously, well, large footed lady, and she did say I was very good in high heels. But that was a while ago.
So where did you get your jacket?
I've done my Achilles since then. Oh, this jacket is Python, and I got it for a taxidermy auction back some years ago, where I was buying, my partner Kath loves taxidermy, and I bought a extinct Sumatran tiger's head for her from 1878.
How romantic.
No, yeah, it was amazing.
Can't wait to get
Christmas
my own
present.
tiger head one day.
It was very Grura, thing, and the kids found it a little bit offensive, particularly since one of them was actually a vegan. Anyway, this was the only item of clothing, and it fitted perfectly, and I just went, oh my god, I've been looking for a great jacket for a while, and yeah.
Great, really? Jury's out on that one. The fashion jury's out on that one. However, moving right along, we've had a question from Nicholas here. He wants to know the difference between the vintages of Coppermine Road, so the Coppermine Road Cabernet Sauvignon 2010 versus 2014.
Oh, okay. 10 was an interesting year because fruit characters were quite ripe at really low sugar levels, and which was great because that's what you want, then you don't end up with very much alcohol in the wine. It still ended up like being nearly 14% alcohol, if I remember the 10 Coppermine. That was a more gentle wine in 10, as is the 14 probably. I mean, this stage it doesn't look very gentle, but I think actually they're probably relatively similar. The only difference is that actually no, they were both early vintages as well. But there's a little bit more purple fruit in the 14. There's a little bit more red, sort of savoury fruit in the 10. But in many ways, they're actually quite similar, I'd say.
So back on the 14s, what's your recommended cellaring time for each of the icons?
Well, as I did mention that, 8 years when I start drinking them, and then
we mentioned
you'll learn eventually which is the best vintage to age.
Yeah.
And the best vintages will last 40 years, but we don't really know them until time's up, and no one can ever predict that really. They're all good vintages because I'm not going to put anything in the bottle that's crap,
And
even remotely.
I personally find the problem with our icon wines is that they taste so good I don't have the patience to sell them. Although I should really get onto that one day.
Buy more.
So, guys, thank you so much for your participation tonight. We're going to wrap this up because we know, it's Thursday night, it's Friday tomorrow, nearly the weekend. Everyone's got stuff to do, Netflix to watch, chilling to happen.
A lot more wine to drink.
A lot more wine to drink. So I thought maybe we could just wrap up a little bit talking about the story behind the name of Darrenberg and what we have to offer here, like our blending bench and Darius Veranda.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, first of all, the blending bench and Darius Veranda, you can come and blend your own version of the Dead Arm, and then
It's on the end.
Oh, it's on the end. They've moved around, haven't they?
Well, you moved
I didn't
Nobody
know.
else touched them.
It's my fault. All right, look, so you can blend your own version of the Dead Arm and take it home, and all your friends have a dinner party 8 months later, and if you do it with a heap of people, and taste each other's wines and work out who's the best winemaker effectively. So you get a certificate saying you are a winemaker from now that you've been able to learn to blend. You can do verticals of wines of different vintages of our single vineyard wines. You can do just themes of Shiraz or whatever. Degustations with wine matching things with 3 wines for each course or whatever. And there's an enormous amount. And then the cube, which will be coming along.
Well, I was just going to say, with the cube, there has been a lot of attention, and everyone's talking about the D'Arenberg cube this, the D'Arenberg cube that. What exactly is, I know, I'm asking for the benefit of our audience. Can you just tell us what's going to be inside? Don't give away too many details, but just a no secrets, but just a general overview. What's actually going to be inside the building?
It's a contemporary art gallery outside and at the bottom. So you'll be about 8 rooms will immerse you in alternate realities. And senses will be highlighted of aromas and visuals and mind. There'll be games playing on your mind, things playing on your mind. And then the very top floor is the tasting room, and next floor down is a really high-end restaurant. We're aiming higher than anything that's been done in South Australia before. The chef started 2 or 3 months ago. He's got like 4 or 5 months to get everything together, and we're having so much fun doing that. And then there's another function floor, and that's about it, really. Toilets, all those sorts of things.
All right. He very much underplayed that, but I did say don't give away too many details. If you want to have a bit more information about the cube, head to darenberg.com.au/cube. You can see pictures of this stunning architectural piece. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, one more quick question. I want a quick answer from this. If you could have dinner with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be? From Michelle.
Oh, God, yeah, thank you. That's like a nice warning. I know, and it's unfortunately cliched all the time, the Dalai Lama, but I meditate all the time, and I love just that peaceful calmness, and just sort of, it would be beautiful. He's such a beautiful person, and you become your surroundings.
Is that your answer?
Look, I suppose it's got to be, really. I know. Well, God, all the actors, I don't know. There's a few hot ones, I suppose. But they're all getting older now. I've got to pick out some young ones, and that's creepy. So I can't do that.
And on that note, guys, we'll wrap up. I hope you enjoy the rest of whatever it is that's in your glass tonight. Thank you so much for joining us in Meet Your Maker, or Meet the Maker online. We'll be doing these occasionally, just whenever we're releasing a new wine and we feel like we've got something interesting to say. And with over 70 wines in our portfolio, trust me, we always have something interesting to say. So as I said, head on over to darenberg.com.au/cube. And if you're watching us on Facebook, head over to Instagram, Twitter, follow us on all the socials, and keep up to date on the latest and greatest news from D'Arenberg.
Drink up and have a great night. Cheers.